For question 26, given that the function is defined in piecewise function, so as we can see here, for x less than equals to, we have a function constant here, and then for interval 2 to 8, we have another function. For x more than 8, we have another function in modulus form. So when we see our piecewise function in modulus form, we have to simplify our modulus function here. So we express back our modulus function in piecewise. So this modulus 8 minus x can be in the first part, positive part, where 8 minus x is greater equals to 0, or it will be negative for it less than 0. So we simplify our piecewise function here, move the 8 to the right hand side, and simplify the negative for this function. It will become negative 8 plus x. So here we can see moved our 8 to the right hand side, and we simplify our domain here. So when we divide by negative, the symbol of inequalities need to change. So you can notice here, for our modulus 8 minus x, when x greater than 8, we are going to select this piece, which is a negative part, which is negative 8 plus x, according to its domain. So this modulus function we have already simplified. Now we're going to answer our questions. For the question A, they ask us to find the limit of our gx when x approaches 2 from the right hand side. And then question B, limit from the gx and for the x approaches 8 from the right hand side. So before we going to solve this, we are going to draw out our interval so that we can visual our function clearly. So as we can see, less than 2 is our function of 2, and then between 2 and 8 will be function of x minus 2 over square root 2x minus 2. And when we have more than x, this is our function. Take the simple form is negative, simplified form is negative 8 plus x over x minus 8. Then only we can start answer our first part of the questions. For question A, as we want to find the limit when x approaches 2 from the right hand side. So positive here means right hand side. So our function selected here must be correct. This is our domain x equals to 2. Left hand side is 2. Right hand side is this function. So select our function correctly. Then only we start to substitute our x value of 2. So we try to substitute this x equals to 2 inside our function here. We'll notice here is 0. And at the same time here also 0. So we get IDF form. When we have IDF form, what can we do? When we have IDF form, we see our function involving surd. We can multiply with its conjugate. So its conjugate will be surd 2x plus 2. And our limit notation will be following until we simplify our function completely. So this a minus b, a plus b, simplify this conjugate, we can get a squared, which is give us 2x, minus b squared, which is give us 4. This is a, this is b, so a squared we get 2x, b squared we get 2 squared, we get 4. So up here, we will maintain the multiplication like this. So we can notice here, we can simplify our function. We factorize out our 2 So normally when we have multiplication with conjugate, we only simplify for the conjugate part. For the other parts, we will let it in the factor form. So you can see now we're having the same factor x minus 2, which can be simplified. So after we simplify our function, we try to substitute our limit again. So as we approaches this limit x equals to 2, we try to substitute our value of 2. Then we can notice that we can find our answer, which is 2 times 2 plus 2 over 2. So they give us a value here. That will be our final answer. So what is important here, we can see for the first part is select our function correctly when we want to find our limit approaches to from the right hand side. Then in order to solve it, to solve our IDF form, the concept of conjugate we use here, and we simplify our answer. We simplify our function into this format. Then we approaches our limit, substitute our limit x equals to 2 and answer equals to 2. So as you can see here, as we substitute the limit of 2, the notation of limit, we no longer write it again. So that will be our first part of question A. Then now we're going to solve our question B. So they're going to ask us find the limit for x approaches 8 from the right hand side. So approaches 8 from the right hand side. The function involved here will be negative 8 plus x over x minus 8. So try to substitute, do our first attention, substitute our 8 inside here. You'll notice that we get 0 over 0. It is an IDF form. So we simplify it. So we can see here, we can simplify our function. So when we simplify our function, they are same. It is equals to 1. So when we do a limit, do a constant 1, they will give us back the constant value 1. So what is important here, so our first part will be our expression of our modulus 8 minus x into the piecewise function, so that we can select our function correctly and get to the limit answer correctly. So that will be our questions 26.